Pardon me. Hey there, how you doing? So my name is Paul Murphy. I'm looking in the wrong place. I do apologise if my eyes veer off. This is a recital of well, it's going to be a song. I guess there is a song in that I've still got the music in my head. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it at the end, but because it goes on a bit. I must just say at the start, before we get started, and it's just about to show you an example. Let me just go off camera. Can't move off the camera, I do apologise. I'm the end stage of functional motor neurological disorder. My jaw is starting to seize up, as is my throat. I'm going to try and do this the best I can. I've never shortchanged an audience in 42 years. Not going to start now. Did I say what this is called? This is called Juliette. The other thing I would say, I can see now, this contains disturbing subject material. Juliette. Dawn takes so long to pierce the night's veil, and the birds only have a dirge to sing. Another empty morning with a black-eyed tale, and dark portents of what the dusk will bring. Sunlight tendrils glide through the broken blind, slaying shadows in a motel room, trying to stroke warmth onto a mascara-rivered face, as if to apologise for having to leave so soon. Juliette stares unblinking at the ceiling. She knows the day is just midnight's calling card. She's gone past thinking and trying to forget feeling. These days those things show her scant regard. Tommy comes in whistling from the shower, throws her clothes into her face and finger clicks. Come on, get dressed, check out times in an hour. And I ain't paying extra because you've been sick. Through her unswollen eye, she gazes at him. The boy she loved become a man she hates. Endings never match the way the stories begin. And her burnt-out soul holds a pain that never abates. She lifts her head and winces as she does so. Her cheek is swollen, dried blood blocks her nose. Tommy said no limits and they laughed, let's go. He counts the cash as she loses count of the blows. 17 seems like 1,000 years ago. Happiness feels like a myth that doesn't exist. Around each soft-scent rose, choking weeds do grow. And the first step to damnation is oft a kiss. Tommy was a small-town boy made good. He came home with the car, the cash, the look. Flashing pearl-white smiles around the neighborhood. How he came by it all stayed a closed book. All the girls vied for his attention. They'd toss their hair and drop unsubtle hints. Juliette was shy in each way you could mention, and at innocence the devil's eye seldom squints. Tommy's snake-oiled tongue dripped its charm, flattery and persuasion in equal measure. If you really love me, was his means to disarm. What better way to plunder sacred treasure? I've got to head back to the city, he said. There's nothing in this town to tie me down. Non-entities and people who are the walking dead. It's been fun, but I guess I'll see you around. First time tears fell from her sapphire eyes. The first drops that would become a stagnant lake. Smiling at the sight, Tommy knew he had his prize. He grinned, or here's an opportunity to take. His mouth painted pictures in multicoloured venom. Come with me, please, I can't bear to leave you behind. The love-struck have no shield to defend them from manipulators planting seeds in their minds. They pulled away in Tommy's car that evening, her golden mane flowing in the breeze. A brief note to her mother saying, I'm leaving. I'll be safe with Tommy, so put your mind at ease. I promise I'll write you when we're settled. I'm sure I'll have lots of exciting things to say. Each night she rereads that note, worn and crumpled. She hasn't heard a word from her daughter to this day. Tommy's panache did not match his dwelling. A one-room cold water place down by the docks. It's only temporary, he'd keep on telling. We'll soon have a place that doesn't need so many locks. She'd lie in his arms and sigh adoringly. I feel so safe, secure, and happy with you. I know you'll always be there to care for me. Being with you is a dream come true. He would never tell her what he did for money. Each time it arose, the subject would get changed. But slowly as the weeks passed, she started to see something on the balance sheet looked strange. Some days his wallet would stay empty. She got used to sometimes going without food. Then Tommy would go out at night and come home with plenty. But now there was a mask on his mood. He used to make love to her with warmth and tenderness. He taught her to be adventurous and free. More and more often now it seemed he couldn't care less. And he'd get angry when she'd ask, is it me? His phone was always piercing their sleeping. He'd rise, get dressed, and leave without a word. She wondered what secrets he was keeping, coming home agitated and disturbed. One day she saw two men driving his car away. She asked him why in surprise. His mouth stayed silent, but his fists had plenty to say. That was the first of her black eyes. The next day came a claim of repentance. Same old sentences that always spring forth. I'm tired, uptight, I've made some bad investments. I'm thinking we should try our luck up north. She said I'll try to be more understanding, taking a blame that was not hers to bear. When you fall in love, you don't see where you're landing. She said all your problems are mine to share. She never saw then the malevolent gleam that spread across his demon countenance. A lifetime from now she'll recall that it seemed to be the moment he dropped all the pretense. Things were keeping on getting tighter. The TV went and the rent was overdue. When she went to the corner shop, her fingers were getting lighter. Steal or starve, which one would you do? Wake up, sleepyhead, she heard him whisper. Have you forgotten you're 18 today? These are for you, he said, and kissed her. Flowers, perfume, and some high-range lingerie. She threw her arms around him and hugged him. I love you, Tommy, always and forever. I'm glad you said that, my darling. There's something I want us to do together. He passed her the gift bag and said, put these on for me. She blushed as she viewed the boudoir apparel. When she was dressed, he said, now pose provocatively. I've bought us a camera as well. No, Tommy, no, I couldn't. I'm too embarrassed to do that. I thought you loved me, he responded. The words hit her harder than a slap. Anything for you, she said hesitantly, and curled herself on the bed. He barked, I've been waiting here patiently. Now prove to me you mean what you said. He told her how to position herself as the camera clicked incessantly. After capturing her from all angles, he said, I want something else. Expose your inner secrets for me. She wanted to refuse, but she did not dare. He smiled and said, show me what you've got. More than her emotions were being laid bare. Still she glowed with pride when he groaned, you're so hot. She glided seductively in satin and lace, to the delight of her lens-eye paramour. She said, please, darling, don't show my face. One look told her the request was ignored. Don't worry, Angel. These will stay private. I just wanted to document how beautiful you are. Undressing, he said, now let me prove it. You're the best thing in my life by far. 2 weeks later, Tommy's pretty flush. The bills are paid and he's got a new set of wheels. Juliette asked him, puzzled, where did you get this cash? He shrugs, I got lucky on some business deals. That reminds me, I hope that you like this. He passes her a bracelet inscribed, I love Juliette. She gasps, it's beautiful, and slips it on her wrist. So are you, he says, and don't you ever forget. The good times seem to be getting better. They moved to a new apartment, paying 2 months in advance. Tommy brings some new friends around who act like they've already met her. She hears one saying something about the school dance. The next night, Tommy grins, I'm feeling spicy. From a bag, he produces a student's uniform. He says, put this on and entice me. Loads the camera and orders, show me where it's warm. Things start to settle into a routine. Tommy gets more distant even when he's home. Some nights he walks in wild and then he gets real mean. Her teenage dreams are starting to corrode. One Sunday morning she goes for a walk. Two women pass and she thinks she hears her name. She asks, "Do I know you? I thought I heard you talk." One hisses, "Have you got no sense of shame?" Juliette walks away uncomprehending, arrives home early and catches Tommy by the bins. In his guilty hands all the letters home she thought she was sending. Naivety falls and reality begins. I know your mother hates me, he stammers. And I thought she'd try to come between us. Juliette can't hear him. All that matters is that she's surrounded by the shards of broken trust. She thinks long and hard about leaving, but he deals his aces, charm and remorse. By the time he's finished, even she's believing she's the one who steered their love off course. 1 month on, and things have gone awry. Tommy's luck seems to have slid downhill. She hears him on the phone saying, "The powder has run dry, and I can't pay what I owe with a packet of pills." His voice descends into a murmur. It's hard for her to make out what he's saying. Something about a good little earner and a fast learner, or she better start praying. She feigns sleep when he returns. It's no longer the only thing she feigns in their bed. No one to turn to confide her concerns. She decides to forget what was said. Tommy is up and about early. Brings her breakfast in bed as a treat. He says, "My perfect darling, you complete me. Don't fret about things, we'll soon be back on our feet. By the way, I've got to make a business trip. I meant to say, but it slipped my mind. Why don't you come too, now that I think of it? We'll make a holiday break out of it this time." "That will be wonderful," she exclaims. "Some time away with you would be bliss. I'm sure we'll benefit from a scenery change. Oh, how much I'm looking forward to this." She hums happily as she packs. "What should I take? How long will we be gone?" She barely notices that he only mumbles back, She calls, "I'm nearly ready, I'm just putting my best dress on." The first surprise is that they don't drive far. An hour away to a motel 10 miles from town. She waits in the lobby while Tommy parks the car, while the old lady behind the desk looks her up and down. Tommy pays with cash and takes the key. "You're in room 33B, Mr. and Mrs. Jones." "Tommy, why the false names? Why the mystery?" "Shut up," he snaps, and she's worried by his tone. The room, like the motel, has gone past its prime. They might change the linen, but not the air. He glances at his watch and tuts at the time. takes her bag and puts it behind a broken chair. "Tommy," she says, her voice quivering, "what kind of business deal could you possibly do here?" She notices she started involuntarily shivering. He says, "Let's make one thing clear. You just do what you are told, and everything will be fine. In some ways, it's a shame that you're now 18 years old. The market's for fresh fruit on the vine." He pulls a tripod from his case and mutters, "Thank God I brought a ring light with me." A puzzled look sweeps Juliette's face. "Tommy, surely you don't mean to film our intimacy?" Before he can answer, there's a knock at the door. "Who is it?" "Film crew," comes a sneered reply. 3 men walk in. "I thought there was 4. At least this way no one has to wait outside." Tommy turns to Juliette, who's shaking. "Honey, it's time to tell you the score. You know all those photographs we've been taking? Well, I want you to meet some fans of yours. You've got lots of admirers who pay well to see you cute and alluring. But I've got a greedy nose and I owe big to some bad mothers, and a photo ain't as profitable as the real thing." She sits in shock as the horror sinks in. Tommy, please don't do this to me." He laughs. "You're on the clock. Let the show begin." They close in, drooling with lascivious glee. "I said get dressed," Tommy screams in her ear, snapping her back to the present moment. She's still shaking from pain, disgust, from fear. 6 brutal hours so slow and... She picks what's left of her dress from the floor and her blouse, not the only thing of hers torn in two. Tommy's on the phone saying, "I need to score. I've got $3,000 to pay some of what I owe to you. And I've got a great film to barter. Once you've seen it, I'm sure you'll clear my debt. And don't worry, this is just for starters. Take it from me, she ain't seen nothing yet. You're gonna be a big star, Juliette." Pardon me. So that's called Juliette. There is actually a that came to me. I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't know how much longer we got left because these files record for 30 minutes. I grabbed a pen and paper this morning. I'm almost completely leg paralyzed now, and the only things that can get the synapses to make what's left of my brain. The only thing I have left in life is playing the guitar. And I thought I'll just get a pen and paper and let a song come out, a 3 or 4 verse song, and I'll get up and just get some endorphins going, just feel alive a little bit. I'm not making this all about me, I'm just giving you the background to it. And And that was about 10 o'clock this morning. My recollection is that Scooby-Doo had just finished on the television. And I had an idea for a title, the title being Juliette. And I had a person in mind, a face in mind. I didn't have a situation in mind. I thought I might just get a love song for 3 or 4 verse love song for a very beautiful lady, because the song I wrote yesterday was kind of an angry political number. And this came out in what you see there. Well, you can't see it now, it's all strewn across the floor. I don't know how many pages that is. It came out all in one go. I finished it at 16:59 p.m. today, 27th of July, 2024, sitting at the table there. And literally, this, as I've read it to you now, is how it came out of my head, with the exception, it all came out in one piece. 7 hours, bar 1 minute. Bar some trips to get some cups of tea and just to breathe in some fresh air. There is another video of me just when I'd written it, and I filmed all the bits of paper here. So I'm very grateful to the songwriting gods. I've been doing this for 42 years now, and I'm always grateful to the songwriting gods when they give me a song. Very seldom I claim to sit down and write a song. Because they just come out of me all in one go. If I sat there like other songwriters do, bits of paper and sort of piecing it together, then I would, claim to have written some of them. But pretty much the entire 1,500 songs I've written have come out like that, all in one go. They don't always come out like this. There were another 2 verses that came out, which was kind of a coda to the song. They came out at exactly the same time. But I'm not going to do them here. They they are on the first video. I think the song was always intended to end on that last line, where he's looking over at her and saying, "You're going to be a big star, Juliette," which is kind of a more ominous line to finish on than a little bit of a coda, a morality coda in there. And there was one other verse that came out that I had to scribble down on a separate piece of paper, which was about the scene in the motel that was just too graphic. I couldn't, seldom in my career have I exercised the redaction pen on a song, but I just couldn't put that stuff out there into people's minds. People can use their imaginations to think what went on during that night of hell, 6 hours, or they can choose to ignore it. So I'm not going to be the one to put further details into it. It does have a tune, because when it came to me, I just had the first verses, and so it's unsurprisingly it's in a minor key. I've probably talked over the file length now, because these files record for, I can't see, 29 minutes, we've got a few more minutes left there. There is one line from the other bit, and the last line of it, the last 2 lines, I read the couplet. "No pain, no gain," is the refrain of Satan's tune, and "if you really love me" is his calling card. I love you can be the first refuge to which a scoundrel clings. So, anyway, I've been Paul Murphy, a very croaky-throated Paul Murphy. Thank you for your time. I would hope that, you know, if you have to do a disclaimer these days, don't you, say if you've been upset by anything in this video, yeah, I don't like your shirt. I would just add that the lady I was intending to write a song about, and I don't even know if her name actually is Juliette, actually, I don't. It may or may not be, I don't know. And I have no reason to believe that that is in any way related to, I know very little about her, that's in any way related to the story, because the theme of the song was, well, I mean, I had this title, the subtitle called The Desecration of Beauty, and then I sort of bled into the desecration of innocence, but I remember reading something a while back, if I see something, I think it's from Bob Dylan, if I see something beautiful I have to destroy it. I'm paraphrasing, that might just be how my mind took a phrase, and I think it was back in Dylan's early days when he was saying weird things like, you know, the beauty of a tramp vomiting in a gutter, I think was the San Francisco press conference or something like that, you know, so any nihilistic phrase, and so, but anyway, that's it, now I'm all talked out. Thank you so much for your time. Peace and love. It's very difficult for me to lean forward and turn the camera off, so if I grimace it's not at you.